I want to read to you the scriptures that I read this morning, and then after I read them, I'll explain to you why they moved me to want to make this particular video. And Jesus said to them, "Take care and be on your guard against all covetousness, for one's life does not consist in the abundance of his possessions." And he told them a parable, saying, "The land of a rich man produced plentifully, and he thought to himself, 'What shall I do? For I have nowhere to store my crops.' And he said, 'I will do this. I will tear down my barns and build larger ones, and there I will store all my grain and all my goods. And I will say to my soul, Soul, you have ample goods laid up for many years. Relax, eat, drink, be merry.' But God said to him, 'Fool, this night your soul is required of you, and the things that you have prepared, whose will they be? And so is the one who lays up treasure for himself and is not rich towards God.'" And it simply hit me that perhaps one of you might not choose to follow Jesus from a young age. That it hit me that maybe one of you went astray for your whole life. Maybe one of you abandoned the ways of your father and abandoned the ways of God. Who knows why, right? Maybe you're angry and you're hurt and you're mad at God because he took your father. Maybe you got distracted by the things of life, by money and by pleasure and making a name for yourself, and maybe you just got distracted and lost your way. But regardless, I just had this picture of what if one of my kids was in their 60s and sitting back watching some videos of dear old dad and just thinking about their life and wondering what it counted for and what they did with it, and they realized that they had spent it on vanity and like useless things and pursuing things that are destined to perish when you die, that you can't keep and take with you when you die. And so I wanted to just speak to you. If you're one of my children and you're at the end of your life and you're filled with regret over the way that you've spent it, I want to encourage you and say it is never too late. That God will receive you. And I know how guilt and condemnation comes in. The adversary, Satan, also known as the accuser, will always tell you, "Oh, you've been too bad. You've wasted too much time. You've idolatrized instead of worshiping the one true God." And so he'll try to keep you in doubt, try to make you think that the Father would never receive you. But I want to share with you this passage, which actually comes 2 chapters later in Luke, to encourage you. I'll give you the nutshell recap, but basically the son turned away from the father, asked for all his money, and went off to go spend it and live life his own way, apart from his father, and then he ended up in a bad spot, filled with regret, and he realizes that he wants to return to his father. So this is Luke chapter 15. I'm just going to read a little segment of the parable of the prodigal son. But when the son came to himself, he said, "How many of my father's hired servants have more than enough bread, but I perish here with hunger? I will arise and I will go to my father, and I will say to him, 'Father, I have sinned against heaven and before you. I'm no longer worthy to be called your son. Treat me as one of your hired servants.' And he arose and he came to his father. But while he was still a long way off, the father saw him and felt compassion and ran and embraced him and kissed him. And the son said to him, 'Father, I have sinned against heaven and before you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son.' But the father said to his servants, 'Bring quickly the best robe and put it on him, and put a ring on his hand and shoes on his feet, and bring the fattened calf and kill it, and let us eat and celebrate. For this my son was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found.' And they began to celebrate." So this is my heart towards you. This is God's heart towards you, right? My heart, I want to be with you. You're my children. I want to have fellowship with you. And I would be willing to forgive and to overlook anything to have you back and have us in fellowship. And if that's true with me, infinitely more so with God our Father, the author of life, the author of light. He would receive us even at the 11th hour, even on our deathbed. He would receive us back, and he would be thrilled, and he would be happy, and he would celebrate that the son who was lost is now found. I simply wanted to tell you that it's never too late to end well, that it is never too late for a happy ending. God is merciful, he's compassionate, he's loving, he watches for you, looking for you to return. I pray for you constantly. I pray that you will have a long and fruitful life in the service of the King. But if on the chance in your way you get lost and you fall away from God the Father, I just wanted to have at least one video that told you that it's never too late, that even in your 60s, 70s, 80s on your deathbed, the Father waits for you and he'll receive you back, even if it's at the very end of your life and you've wasted the whole thing, because it's not your works that he wants, it's you and your heart and your soul. I love you. We'll talk soon.